Hi everyone, this is Peter Rodner from the Mokdong branch. This is my C2 Giga post vlog for Unit 4, Lesson 1, Spider MD. So this week was a little bit difficult due to the fact that we were giving students the personal essay. We were really limited on time, as well as we weren't able to facilitate the projects as much. So I'd just like to go over a few things that I implemented in my class and hopefully will help you out in your next class. So despite the limited amount of time, I wanted to make sure that we still covered the majority of the components. That way students would have the information necessary in order to present in their final project. So for the listening section, because it was only a minute and 30 seconds, I was able to focus on a pre-discussion really to guide students on the key information that they would have to input into the CSLP. Overall, my students had no difficulties being able to identify the information as well as input it into their final CSLP. As for the post-discussion during the listening section, I really started getting into the types of products that they could possibly create using spider silk. My students were really excited about this and started giving me some really good ideas, so I decided that before going straight to the reading, I actually jumped all the way to the ideate section, and I had my students actually input the types of products that they were telling me and coming up with reasons or why they would be helpful. This was very useful because when they got into their final groups, they already had that section done and were able to use them in their final presentation. So in conducting the reading section, one thing that I've implemented in all my C2 classes is I have students work together on this in the groups that they're going to make their final presentation. The reason is I think this is a great way to build teamwork and students are learning some communication skills. Usually, I give them about 5 to 7 minutes in order to not only find the information, but also input it into the CSLP. Now, one of the rules I do have is that all students must have the same answers. So if you're in a group and you disagree, you really need to explain to each other why you think this is the best answer, and then the team can agree on one answer to input. Overall, I found this to be a really effective way, not only to build teamwork, but also time management. So if you feel that maybe you're not having enough time for their final presentations, or you want to focus on maybe some of the media included into the CSLP, you may want to try to implement this in your next C2 class. So for the final presentations, I did make the modification. Instead of having students focus on an individual product, they could focus on multiple products that could be created using spider silk. Now this was great because we already had a ton of products already inputted into the CSLP due to the fact that the post-discussion during the listening section went so well. So when teams actually began creating their final presentations, they really only needed to agree on a few things. One was the name of their company, two, a logo, and lastly, who would present which product and its benefits. Now overall this went really well because in their final presentations, because everybody had one product to present, I was assured that everyone would have an ample speaking portion in order to show and display their English abilities. So I strongly recommend that if you're down on time, having students really focus on one idea and then come together as a team is really an easy way to do this. So I hope these tips and suggestions have helped you out this week, and I'll see you guys next vlog.